Welcome to Everything Guitar. I am Ben France, your host of this weekly deep dive into the world of the guitar. If you're new to the channel and to this series, feel free to go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and ring the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when new videos are coming out. Additionally, if you do find this video to be helpful, useful, entertaining, fun, funny, any, or all of the above, go ahead and give me a thumbs up for this video. So let's go ahead and dive into this week's episode, starting with the news. All right, starting out this week with the news, I thought we'd take a look at a couple of cool new products that have been released and or hinted at being released in the future. They're both guitar related, obviously, and guitar effects and or preamp and or sound mangling manipulation type of thing. So let's jump over to this screen here on the computer. And the first thing we'll see is that on guitar.com they have a news release that says Behringer teases a new guitar pedal / Eurorack module hybrid units. Modular synth nerds and pedal nerds do have quite the overlap, to be fair. This was 3 days ago, so this was on Tuesday of this week. And we'll see Behringer has teased an upcoming release that looks to cater to both pedal and modular synth fans, taking its line of pedal circuits and condensing them down to Eurorack modules. So let's click on that picture so we can see a bigger idea of what that looks like there. Eurorack, if you're not familiar with it, is a standard for modular synthesis that became popular, I think it was actually almost 20 years ago that it first started coming into fruition and has become really popular within the past decade or so. So it's typically analog synthesizers condensed down to a Eurorack or a 500 RU format. So we'll see here back on the screen that it talks about this and it says, writing on Facebook, the brand posited that we want your opinion. What about if we transform some of the coolest guitar effects pedals into the Eurorack format so you could combine them with your Eurorack synths? Or guitar players can now build a super compact and portable effects rack, perhaps even get connected to the world of synths. We do think we could achieve this at US $29 per effect. Do you think that's a crazy idea? If, shoot us some input. So Behringer's already known for the affordability of its products and recently launched its own line of Eurorack compatible synthesizer modules. Its guitar pedal line offers a number of budget alternatives to discontinued vintage or otherwise hard to come by units. There are no concrete details about the proposed idea other than the above renders, but it could see a total form factor change for some guitarist pedal boards. So that's a pretty cool idea. Shrinking things down to the Eurorack format means that you could literally have something like that thing that we saw on the screen there, rendering an enormous amount of pedals right into one small rack, or if you want to dive into the world of synthesis, that'll give you the ability to have some familiar effects and familiar knobs to twiddle and tweak as you figure out your synth sounds. So pretty cool stuff from Behringer. If you'd be interested in that, jump over to their Facebook page and give them some feedback. I know I will be doing so and telling them, yes, please make this, because I would love to have a Eurorack full of not only cool synth gear, but also some cool guitar effects pedals that fit right into it as well. So the second piece of gear I want to cover this week is a couple pieces of gear actually from Boss, that maker of all things effects pedal and guitar manipulation. Jumping over to the screen, we'll see that they launched the new GT1000 Core, the RC5, and the RC500. Now obviously that's three names, and I said two effects or two different products, but you'll see here in a minute. One is a new multi-effects processor and two new loop stations joining the fray. So first thing, let's go ahead and take a look and let's click on this picture of the GT1000 Core. That is a very cool small format pedal board multi-effects unit. I think it's a very classy looking unit. Very, very nice build quality, that brushed aluminum finish on the pedal. Just overall a very beautiful looking piece of equipment. Now, the GT1000 Core we see is based on Boss's flagship GT1000 effects guitar processor and packs in the GT1000's same powerful effects processing tech into a more pedal board friendly enclosure. Each patch you can load can run up to 24, yes, 24, that's insane, simultaneous effects including two different amps at once. The unit has 250 slots for user presets too, so you can load up your GT1000 Core with tones for any situation imaginable. In terms of hardware, there are three onboard switches that can be configured for a variety of functions, and other stomp boxes can easily be integrated with the GT1000 Core via mono or stereo in and out. Dual send and return jacks are also available for external effects or separate feeds to a PA or recorder. Deeper control is possible with external foot switches and expression pedals, and you can remotely switch amp channels using the unit as well. The GT1000 core also functions as a multi-channel USB MIDI audio interface, able to integrate into a DAW as well as being used for reamping. Recording mode provides a variety of built-in speaker and microphone types to choose from, and it's also possible to import 16 wave format speaker impulse responses to the GT1000 IR loader software. So you can load in your own impulse responses for your own cabinets. Further connectivity allows you to craft sounds on a Mac or Windows computer using the Boss Tone Studio editor. MIDI in-out is provided by compact TRS jacks. So, super cool. They're a very small format but ridiculously powerful guitar effects processor and preamp slash power amp slash cabinet simulator as well. I know I'll definitely be checking that out at my local Boss dealer. Now let's take a look at the RC5 and RC500. The RC5 and RC500 they offer, it says here, 13 hours of stereo recording as well as deeper controls with external foot switches, expression pedals, or MIDI. Each features a 32-bit ADDA converter and 32-bit floating point processing, onboard rhythms, phrase memories for storing loops, and backlit displays. The smaller RC5 features full stereo in and out along with an LCD screen, which has a color-changing backlighting indicating recording, overdub, and playback statuses. All basic looping functions are accessed by the main switch of the pedal, but connect up to 2 external foot switches for deeper controls. And the larger RC500 features stereo instrument jacks as well as a dedicated XLR input complete with phantom power. So 2 very cool loop stations from Boss now that give you a variety of different looping possibilities and built-in rhythmic possibilities. If you're interested in reading more about either of these products, I'll put the links to both of them down in the description video below, so make sure to jump over and check those out. Alright, for this week's mini guitar lesson, I thought we'd continue our exploration of alternate tunings. We started this out a couple weeks ago looking at DADGAD, which was tuned from the lowest string to the highest, D, A, D, G, A, D, which gave us some very interesting fingering possibilities, some very interesting possibilities as far as different movable shapes. We continued our exploration last week, which you can check out the link to that one up here, looking at drop tunings. In particular, on this guitar, we were looking at drop C tuning, but also talking about drop D tuning as well. So this week I thought we'd continue those tunings by looking at some more open tunings. Today we're looking at open D tuning. So let me kick off a little bit of overdrive here so you get a little bit cleaner tone initially, and we'll talk about what open D is. An open tuning typically means that you're taking your 6-string guitar and you're tuning the 6 strings to where they make a chord when they are strummed openly. So instead of being your typical guitar where it is E, A, D, G, B, and E, basically intervals of fifths, essentially. With open tunings, we're tuning them all to specific intervals where we get a full chord out of all 6 strings. So today we're going to be looking at open D tuning. We'll probably explore some more open tunings in the coming episodes of Everything Guitar. So how do you tune your guitar for open D tuning? We'll start out going across the strings from low to high. Starting with your low string, which is usually an E, we tune that down 1 full step or 2 frets to the note D. Probably not a surprise there based on the fact we're talking about open D tuning. The next string, we're going to tune that, leave that in standard tuning, which is an A. The reason we do that is because in the D major triad, we have 3 notes. We reviewed this way back on, I believe, episode 4 of Everything Guitar. I'll put the link to that up here. And in the key of D major, the notes we have are D, A, and an F sharp. Our D is our root, or our first, our F sharp is our 3, or our third, and A is our 5th. So, getting back to our tuning. Our lowest string, tuned down 1 whole step, 2 semitones to the note D. We leave our 5th string tuned at A, which is, as we just discovered, the 5th in the D major triad. Our 4th string is in standard tuning a D, so we leave that there. That gives us a root only an octave higher. Now here, our 3rd string would normally be a G. Remember I said in standard tuning. In this case, though, we tune it down a 1 semitone or 1 fret, 1/2 of a step to an F sharp. That gives us our 3rd. So we have a root, a 5th, a root an octave higher, our 3rd. Then we take our 2nd string, which is normally a B, we tune it down 2 semitones or 2 frets, down a whole step, depending on what term you want to use there, to an A. So instead of being B, this note becomes an A. And then we take our high E, our highest pitch string that's normally an E, and we tune it down also 2 semitones a whole step or 2 frets down to a D. So that gives us low to high, D, A, D, F sharp, A, and D. If we play them all together, we get this really nice open D major chord. Now the cool thing about that, since we're tuned to an open chord, what that means is if you bar all 6 strings, you can change what chord you're playing with just one finger. So if this is a D, we know from previous episodes, 2 steps up, or 1 whole step up, 2 frets up is an E. So if we bar the 2nd fret like this, we get an open E major chord. If we go a half step higher, 1 semitone or 1 fret, we get an open F major chord. If we jump up 2 frets, 1 whole step or 2 semitones, we get a G as an open chord. Or as a barred chord, I should say. Jumping 2 more frets would get us an A. 2 more would get us a B. 1 more, a half step, 1 fret or 1 semitone would get us a C. Because remember, between B and C, it's only 1 fret, so we go from here, fret 9 barred, to fret 10 barred gives us a C major. And then if we jump up to our 12th fret, of course, we get our octave, another G major. So what can you do with that? Well, you can do a lot with that. Obviously, you've got your standard chords there. You can also do things like just play partials on your barred chords, meaning that if we have this open D, if we do something like bringing in the 3rd fret on our 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, the notes that we're going to get then, we're going to get an F, we're going to get a, and we're going to get another, let's see, A, B, we're going to get another, a C. And if we play that with our open 5th string, our A, we get this really cool tonality. And then if you slide that guy up 2 frets, kind of like that piece you were hearing me play at the start, that chord progression, then you go back to your D. Another thing you can do, this gives you very interesting opportunities to play some interesting chords with minimal fretting. So we can play something like a G sus4 / sus2, where you're playing both the 4th and the 2nd. By taking your G, remember I said that we were barring across the 5th fret on all the strings to get our G major. Well, if we use our 3rd finger, our ring finger, on the 7th fret of the 4th string, that gives us an A. And if we use our middle finger on the 6th fret of the 3rd string, then we get this type of tonality. And then if you lift that middle finger, you can have a nice little walk down to something like this. So it almost sounds like an augmented chord. And of course you can move that shape around too. So, open D tuning. It's something that I haven't explored a whole lot myself, to be honest. Played around with it a little bit, but as I get into it more, the more cool that tuning sounds. In particular, if you put a little bit of grit on the guitar tone, and you play some of those open sliding forms, you get a very bluesy type of sound, almost like some old Delta blues type sounding stuff like that. So there you go, open D tuning. I hope that gives you some interesting opportunities to explore some different ideas, some different tuning sounds, and some different possibilities on chord progressions and writing in your guitar playing. Make sure to tune in next week. We'll dive further into some open tunings, looking at some additional keys that we can tune this guitar to in an open tuning to give us some more variety and spice to our playing and our riff and chord progression writing. So that's it for this week's Everything Guitar, episode 16. I hope you found this to be useful, fun, funny, or entertaining. As I said at the start of the video, if so, I would love it if you go ahead and click the subscribe button down below, and also ring the bell for notifications, because not only am I doing Everything Guitar as a weekly series, this is week 16, but I also release a lot of additional music content, some original music that I write and record myself, some additional guitar lessons. I've got a number of gear reviews coming up, including some very cool vintage gear I hinted at last week. Got pushed back by 1 week, but this guy right over my shoulder that you can see here is what's being used for all the tones recently in all of my music, and we're going to do an in-depth review and demo of that that'll be coming out sometime the middle part of this next week. So, as always, I hope you all are doing well out there. Keep practicing, keep playing your guitar, and take care, everyone. Bye.